What's up, you
All right,
guys?
we're about to get started. How are you, Jeff?
Really good. Thanks for having me out today. Appreciate y'all being here on time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So, if you guys don't know who Jeff is yet, you're going to be in for an impactful session today. And his topic is Pivot to Survive, creating a hybrid tech powered real estate business and thriving. Um, Jeff has an impressive background. He actually was the #1 Berkshire agent in America. He knew Mike. You guys knew each other, right? Jeff McCann, right? When you guys were at Berkshire?
I was number 2 to Mike until he left. So thank
Yeah.
you, Mike, for paving the way to allow me to be number 1.
I love it.
My pleasure.
Then he was 1, and now he came over to – when did you come over to Keller, Jeff?
So we announced at FutureCon December 9th, and we officially left Berkshire January 31st, and we just got our market center number this last week.
Nice, dude. And what was your main reason for coming over?
More money.
More opportunity?
Not true at all. I have a pretty big vision, which I'll show you guys here in a little bit. And I felt that I was going to be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish faster, with less energy, less headache, and within a group of people that understand where I've come from, that understand our culture, that understand what I want to accomplish. The traditional brokerage fights very hard against a lot of the things that I do. So from the creation of expansion teams to coaching, to ancillary businesses that run parallel to your business, the traditional brokerage outside of KW wants to do all those things themselves and keep the agents from doing the same. And so that was one of my main reasons. Gary Keller said, there's no rules here. Do whatever you want. When I went on stage at a family reunion in front of 20,000 people, I said to Gary right before going on stage, can I invite everyone to follow me on an Instagram at Jeff M. Cohn? And he looked me right in the eyes. This is like the 10th time I've heard him say it. And he said, Jeff, there's no rules. So that's why we're at Keller Williams.
Yeah, big difference. So I was at Coldwell Banker before, great company, but just the more traditional model. Came to this, and how I look at it, it's like Netflix. They just give us a platform, and guys like you and me and other people on this call today, it's a platform to allow us to do what we want, how we want to do it, and they give us accessibility, right?
That's exactly right. Yep.
It's a beautiful thing. So this is you're the last speaker that we're having over the last 2 weeks. So you're the grand speaker of our Ed Week. We've had, Jeff, about over 600 people per week on these calls.
Cool.
The company right now is doing about 30 to 45 classes a month, and we're normally around top 10 in the country within our growth. So one of the things we do differently is the culture and the training that we're doing. So we're super excited that you're going to crush it as the final speaker on Ed Week, and we appreciate you coming on today. If you guys are here and you're with KW Philly, great. Keep on coming to our classes and our events. If you're not, you want to take advantage of what we're doing, please get your information in the comment section. Alyssa will get you over on our list for future events. And I'm looking forward to bringing some more great news to you guys over the next 30 days. As Jeff says, we're all entrepreneurs. He came here for the platform, came here for all the other things we bring. We're going to be doing some big things too. And I'm excited to share that all with you. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about on the call. The rest we'll share at a later point. So Jeff, the stage is yours, man. Can you just give us a little bit of background on, you before we get into this? Because I'm following you. You're good boys with Frank, right? From Viral?
Yeah. Frank Glezitz, good guy.
Yep. So I know him from the Mike Ferry days. I've used him for years. I've been following your stuff.
We were in college courses together. We both took business management at University of Nebraska, Omaha. And we sat on the opposite ends of the room, never really engaged with each other. And we ran into each other like 3 years later at a Boomtown Unite event. And I said, hey, didn't I go to college with you? And we're in Charleston, right? Meeting again for the first time. So kind of funny. But yeah, man, I'll take it and run with it. Jeremy, thank you. First off, I just want to thank you guys all for being here. The Jim Rohn quote, I think, applies to all of us. Our level of success will never exceed our level of personal development. And to your sentiment of this continual training, the difference between everyone listening to me and me are the books that you read, the people you meet, the people you mastermind with, the podcasts you listen to, the webinars you attend, and hopefully the podcasts you host yourself. So the only way we can grow is to grow. And too often people want to see a certain result, but they're not willing to put in the WORK. And my grandfather always said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And typically the people that produce at the highest level work harder than everybody else. And that's just the truth. We've been tracking everything analytically for the last 10 years, and I'll be able to break some of those numbers down today. One quick request, if everyone would please be sure, and I think most of you have, your first and last names. If everyone's in Philly, put Philly. If you're anywhere else, put whatever city, state you're in, just so that I can know that. I'm watching all your beautiful faces. And enjoying seeing you respond to everything I say. So if you do have a camera and you want to share your video, it is really beneficial from a speaking standpoint for me to be able to engage with you guys and see your response. The other point I want to make, I have the Team Building Podcast. We interview top team leaders, broker owners, and industry leaders across the country every week. Would invite you guys to check out free content on that site. We created a special link today. That's ersloveskw.com. ersloveskw.com. If someone can put that in the chat for me. At that link, I give away all sorts of stuff, but it's really easy to sign up for weekly emails of the podcast. And I would invite you guys to consume that content as well. So thank you again for being here. The big advantage of being live versus a podcast, we don't stream our podcast, and I think you guys are streaming this right now onto social media, is you get to actually ask me questions. You can challenge my mindset. You can, break down into any detail you want about anything I'm about to talk about today. So my goal, Jeremy, with your blessing, is to spend about 30 minutes downloading my keynote. I prepared this keynote for 2020, and it couldn't have come at a better time. I prepared this prior to the pandemic. You guys probably listened to me on stage. Some of you 2 months ago at Family Reunion, Gary Keller asked a group of panelists if there was, in front of everybody, 20,000 people, what's the one thing that everyone in the audience should be focused on over the next 5 years? My response, I believe that every office in the future, the client's going to demand an option, not just physical, but virtual. And that every office should be able to offer agents and the consumer the option of doing anything that was once done physically, virtually. 45 days later, every office in America is closed. Obviously, I couldn't have known that was going to happen. I didn't release the virus, but it is pretty fascinating, the timing on all of it. As far as an introduction, Rock Thomas, he's a broker up in Montreal with KW, gave me the permission 5 years ago. He said, never apologize for being awesome. And what I mean by that is people sometimes will say, oh, they're so braggy, they're so cocky. There's a difference between confidence backed by success and somebody that just brags numbers and didn't really earn what they have. So today, anything I say, hopefully my track record, it essentially supports everything that I'm going to share with you guys today. And I don't mean for anything to come across braggadocious. I really just am here today. No one paid me to be here. I'm here to bring value. If I can help give you guys one nugget that you can change in your life, and it might not even be in your business, if you can change one simple thing in your life today, just from my time with you, it was a success for me. So again, thank you guys for this opportunity. All right. So 2006, I graduate from college, and I'm actually going to share my screen with you now, if that's okay. And my first slide will kind of show a timeline. So just like a lot of you, I was in production full time. And so 2006, I get my license. 2007 was my first full year. I hit the phones. Again, WORK, 80% of an agent that's in production, 80% of their time should be spent prospecting. You guys probably have heard that before. 20% of their time servicing. And so I hit the phones. I did expireds, withdrawals, canceled, door knocking, some open houses. Social media. I think I was the first agent in my city, Omaha, Nebraska, to do coming soon signs, to use virtual callers, to use internal sales agents. At the time I was using the Red-X, which got you expired information. And I did over 50 transactions my first year, netting me about 96 grand. I was pretty happy with that. The average income for someone with an undergrad degree in Omaha was at the time about 32,000. So I 3X'd what my average income should have been had I chosen to take the 8-to-5 job. And the rest was really history. I started to learn how to work smarter, not harder. And I broke it down into figuring out what I was worth per hour. So my first year, I was working 60, 70-hour weeks, but assuming it had been 40-hour weeks, which is what I think is healthier to work towards that, I would have been worth around $50 an hour. So I could hire someone to mow my lawn, as an example, for $20 or $25 an hour. And so when I started realizing there's all these things I could leverage by spending less money per hour, as long as I was willing to replace that time with higher income producing activities, I was able to create leverage over and over and over again. Fast forward to 2011, I decided to launch an official real estate team, and we called it Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group. That was actually the tagline of the team I had previous, the Cohn team, which just was what I call a community team, which was just my mom and dad and I with one admin. So we killed the Cohns, became the tagline Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group, and we grew from 70 to 700 unit sales in 6 years. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that was pretty fast growth. I've yet to hear of another team that grew faster. If there is someone, reach out to me. Mike, maybe you did. 6 years to go from 70 to 700 is pretty phenomenal. And I'll show you some of the strategies we implemented to grow at that rate and share with everybody here how you could grow to 700 units even faster than I did. 2015, we decided to leave our independent brokerage at the time to join Berkshire Hathaway. And in 2018, we did over 700 sides, and we were awarded #1 team at Berkshire Hathaway in 2019. And Gary recruited me in 2019, and we officially launched KW Elite, Keller Williams. In Omaha, Nebraska, we launched a market center, of which I'm the owner. And now we're building out our brokerage. Up until January, we had about 30 to 40 agents consistently over the last 5 years. We've already doubled that. We're up to about 100 agents across about a 30-mile radius around the Omaha area. And my goal is to be at about 250 agents by the end of 2021. But I can speak to you guys today from the independent individual agent standpoint. I did that for 5 years. I can speak from a team perspective. I did that for 5 years. I can speak from the 7th level agent perspective. I did that for 5 years. I stopped selling in 2014 to run my 7th level business where you net $1 million working less than 5 hours a week on your real estate team. And I can now speak from a brokerage level. So hopefully you guys see value in the presentation, and depending upon where you are and where you want to go, there's going to be some value add for you guys today. So Gary's quote on the front of MREA, it's not about the money, it's about being the best you can be. I changed the word being to becoming. Just to be, is not to be. You have to become, and every day you have to do small and simple things consistently over long periods of time. That is success. And so I'm going to talk today about the 4 key areas of one's business as an individual agent, as a team, as a brokerage that can help set you apart from everybody else and truly show you how to pivot and thrive, not just survive in a changing marketplace. So the first thing I'm going to get into is a one-stop shop solution. We're going to talk about training and accountability, lead gen and lead conversion, and the different technologies and strategies out there to keep the agent at the center of the transaction, but be supported and leveraged through technology. So the first point is the agent-facing and client-facing areas of our office. Now, of course, this is more of a brokerage strategy. We're building out a space right now that's going to be complete mid-July 2020. It's 10,000 square feet. But if you can look close at the floor plan, and by the way, this entire keynote is free. You can download it at ersloveskw.com or growwithers.com. You can have the whole keynote. So this is my actual floor plan. There are no agent offices. In 2014, I built out a 3,300 square foot office, no agent offices. I had the vision in 2014 that agents need to spend their time in the field. They can work from home to prospect. They can come into the office to go to trainings, to be supported, to be held accountable. In this particular office, and I'll kind of go through some of the value adds as to what we're offering to both the clients and the agent. So we talked about a one-stop shop solution. Inside of our office, it houses all of my ancillary businesses that I own, which includes mortgage, title, insurance, property management, development, an investment company, our coaching company, Elite Real Estate Systems, our call center, and then of course the real estate arm, Elite, KW Elite. We also have a director of first impression. So when you enter the threshold of our room, I know they say not to say DOFI, but it's director of first impression, who gives you a menu, which includes snacks and drinks. We have pretty much anything you could think of. And we treat it like as if they just walked into a cafe. And we ask them what they'd like, and we seat them either in the reception area or in one of our 6 tech-powered conference rooms. Our conference rooms are running bring your own device technology, like what you'd see if you went to KWRI, where you can connect to a 65-inch or 55-inch flat screen that has a sound bar and an inset HDMI camera. So the second you connect to it, you're running the screen, the camera, and the sound. So you could jump into a virtual meeting. You could have one person in the room with you and then a significant other virtual at their office, and it feels like everybody's in the same place. We're also using OWL devices in 2 of our larger conference rooms, which allow you to see the faces of everybody participating around a circle conference table. We're able to reserve these rooms virtually through an iPad running team technology, where someone just goes onto an app in their phone and they can reserve the room for 30 minutes or an hour. And the front of the iPad indicates if the room's available or not. So my idea was, KW Elite, just like you'll hear Gary say, we're not a real estate company, we're a tech company. And we happen to be in the business of real estate coaching, accountability, systems, strategies, technology. And with that, we have a a myriad of other businesses housed in the exact same location. So those conference rooms aren't just for our agents, they're for the mortgage company, the title company, the insurance company. And to me, that is the future of real estate, giving the consumer the ability to go to one place to meet with all of the ancillary businesses, to be serviced by their agent, and have the option of doing that physically or virtually. And then the last point is concierge services. So we help people with transferring over their electric, gas, water, telephone, internet, TV, cable, home security, etc. So on the agent facing, they literally enter a different location. We have a 50-person training room running 4 75-inch flat screens. In the training room, I have 2 65-inch flat screens where I can see all the Zoom attendees. And so this is part of our Elite Real Estate Systems product offering. An individual agent can attend all of our brokerage trainings for $100 a month right now. And there's 8 hours of brokerage training a month. So we have 4 hours of topical every Monday and 4 hours of dialogue training every Wednesday. We also do team leader trainings for anyone that has one agent or more. And that product's $1,000 a month and includes unlimited seats for your agents. If you want your agents to come into the Monday, Wednesdays, and then the team leader goes to the Thursdays. We also have a virtual reality room. I'll actually grab my headset because they're kind of cool to show you. They're HTC Vive Pro headsets. And I'm physically in my test room. I spent about $10,000 to develop the room that I'm standing in right now. That gives the consumer the ability to virtually tour homes that have never been built before using a headset like this. And so these are actually cameras for, you can actually incorporate, there's games and live settings where you can put furniture into the room using like a box brownie, and you see it with the camera. So you are seeing the room, but then you get to see augmented reality with different items that you place in the room. So I'm investigating and spending a lot of time and energy kind of figuring that out and pioneering that strategy so that we can kind of be on that forefront right now with builders and different projects going on around our city. Open community space like you typically see in an office where agents can engage, and then touch and go rooms. So we have rooms like little call booths where agents can go shut the door. They can reserve those as well. We also have a green screen for headshots and for shooting bomb videos. So inside of our virtual reality room, it's like a 30 by 30 foot studio. So anytime agents want to get new pictures, shoot video, anything like that, they have a spot they can go and do that for free. The office pays for that. So you heard me quote that. We're going to jump into training and accountability. And like I said, I'm not checking the chat because I can't see anything because I'm screen sharing. But at the end, when I wrap this here in about 15 minutes, I will answer any questions. I'll go down any rabbit holes you guys want to go down. And I told Jeremy I'm available as long as you guys want to go. So I'm here for you. So we have what's called our CAPS program. And if you've heard me talk about expanding across Keller Williams, this is both in and outside of Keller Williams. Well, all we're doing is creating a coaching and training arm for broker owners, business center leaders, mega agent offices, inside and outside of KW, anywhere in the world. And with that, we have essentially 4 tiers that agents get coached into. Anyone that's done less than 17 deals, we call them an associate advisor. And there's a different commission split and a different training and a different success management process where there's actually a person in charge of being their mentor to help them with CMAs and go on listing presentations and really handhold them so that, you know, the average 19 out of 20 agents are out of the business in 2 years. We want to make sure that that stat goes way down with the teams that partner with us. The next level is advisor program, 17 to 32 units. They still get a productivity coach who gets to make a percentage, but it's a little bit smaller of a percentage. Again, a different group of people, different training, different accountability. And then senior advisor is our CAPS program. That's anyone that's done over 32 units. They're typically a 70-30 split with a cap, just like a typical KW cap. And then the last group is the executive advisor, which is anyone that has a team, again, 70-30. When we do in our office in Omaha, a double team cap. And so we've designed all of our Elite Real Estate Systems coaching curriculum around these different levels. So Monday training is the advisor, associate advisor and advisor trainings and accountability. Tuesdays is the senior advisor weekly training and accountability. Wednesdays dialogue for everyone. And then Thursdays, the team leader. So imagine if you know, your agents were to plug into Monday or Tuesday for the agent trainings, and then you as the team leader jump on Thursdays. That was kind of our vision. And back to the idea of giving everyone a virtual option, our agents can attend all of these trainings virtually, just like you guys are attending the webinar today, or be in person. And to be able to have that engagement live, but we also create a video library. So we're running a website called Wix. So people can search anything they want. We have over 200 hours of content. So if someone wants to search Mojo Dialer or expired calls or negotiation strategies or listing presentation, We have all those topics in there for them. Here are some examples of some of the trainings you'd be able to find as a coaching client, as well as an agent within our organization. And then here are some examples of some of those team leader trainings. So I know I've talked about this a little bit, but that's the biggest value add I can leave you guys with today is the opportunity to sign up for this. You can find out more information at eliterealestatesystems.com. Just click under learn more. You can see all the topics we train on. Again, $97 a month. That's nothing compared to some of the other coaches out there. And then the team leader coaching at $1,000 a month is still a very economical price. Accountability is a big one. And I talked about this a little bit on stage at FutureCon and at Family Reunion. We, within our organization, for every company I own and for every position, both agent and staff, each person has to define their why. And if you haven't read the book, The Dream Manager, that would be a great book I would recommend to anyone that leads people. The idea is that people aren't so concerned about ones and zeros in their bank account as they are concerned about living and leading the life of their dreams. So everyone in my organizations has to create what we would call a dream board. And that board is representative of what they want to accomplish in the next 12 months to 5 years. And it has specific key performance indicators of what they have to do to accomplish those goals. So what we found on our team, I'll break it down for you. We know that over the last 9 years, we've generated over 1 million visits to our website through pay-per-click ads, through Google, Facebook, Craigslist, and a myriad of other lead gen strategies. With that 1 million visits, it ended up generating 100,000 leads. And so the stats I'm going to share with you guys today isn't just based on a 2,000 lead sampling. It's 100,000 lead sampling over a 9-year period of time across probably 150 agents. And what we found, if you see the bottom right corner, it takes on average 5 call attempts. Now, this isn't an actual, it doesn't have to be just a phone call. This could be a text, an instant message, a DM. It could be a door knock. It could be people coming through an open. Anytime you engage with someone to have a conversation about real estate, that would be what we would consider a call. But if you are actually on a phone, that would be a call as well. So it takes 5 of engagements, 5 calls to get 1 decision maker to talk to you. It takes 10 decision makers talking to you, or 10 contacts, to get 1 person to meet with you. And with every activity, we have a goal. When you try to make a call, you're trying to have a conversation about real estate. When you have a conversation about real estate, you're trying to meet in person to share with them what? Your value. And how do you do that? You show them a buyer presentation or a listing presentation. And once you've shared that with them, your goal is to get them to sign an exclusive buyer agency agreement or a listing agreement. And then the rest of from there is just servicing, which is the simple and leverageable part. But 3 appointments, we found it usually ends up being 1 executed contract. So it breaks down to 150 calls equals 1 closing. And in Omaha, based on our average split structure at our brokerage, it takes about 36 unit sales at an average sales price of like $217,000, and the average commission payout that agents receive to earn about $100,000 a year. So all you have to do for an agent that knows they want to earn, let's say, $100,000 a year to live and lead the life of their dream, and they define that dollar amount. We don't tell them how much money they need to make. That would be like us telling them what life they need to live. That's not my job. It's each person's job to soul search, self-actualize, and be honest with themselves as to how much income they need to live and lead that lifestyle. So if they say, hey, we want to make $100,000 to be able to accomplish these certain things over the next 5 years, then we can say to them, okay, well, on average, that's going to take you 36 unit sales. And we know it takes 150 calls for 1 sale. So if you take 150 calls times 36 unit sales, that equals 5,400 call attempts. Divided over 52 weeks, it's about 100 calls a week. So if you look on the bottom left corner, those are the KPIs we hold our agents accountable to and have held them accountable to for 9 years. So when you go to one of our group accountability meetings, we would ask you, hey, what was your call goal last week? You'd stand up and say, my call goal was 100. I made 75 calls. I had 3 connects, went on 1 appointment, didn't sell a house. I'm not negotiating anything. That's what floaters is. I took 1 new listing and it took me 13 hours. And the only question we ask and the only excuse they're allowed to give if they didn't make their call attempt, after they say their call goal is 100 and they said their call attempt was anything less than 100, I ask them what item do they want to remove from their vision board. That's what it's all about. It's not about them making me money or making the brokerage money or keeping the admin employed. It's about changing one's life. So when you asked the question early on, and I kind of gave you a joke about making more money when you asked why I joined KW, number one, 100%, it was about changing lives. And I felt like inside of Keller Williams, I would be able to create the most influence, the most impact to be able to help change the lives of others. And that's what brings me happiness. Ones and zeros come and go. It's not, ones and zeros don't change their lives. Helping people achieve their vision board is what changes lives. All right. So lead gen and lead conversion. I'm not going to get into all of these today, but I would tell you that if you're a newer agent, someone shared this with me when I first got licensed, and I'll share this with you. This is year 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you want to get to 7th level where you're making $1 million net a year, only working 5 hours or less on your business, this is the strategy to do it. Your first year, 2/3 of your deals should be coming from the broker. Ask them if you can work their Zillow leads, their internet leads, their Relo leads. But the broker, in my opinion, or team leader should be generating around 2/3 of your closed leads. And then 1/3 should be coming from other sources like sphere of influence and cold prospecting. Your second year, a third of your deal should come from each of those buckets: broker leads, SOI, and cold prospecting. Your third year, 2/3 should come from SOI and 1/3 should come from those other two buckets. And you should put yourself in a position where you have the option year 4. I'm not telling anyone to stop selling. I know you love walking through houses and answering your phone at midnight. I'm not telling anyone how to work. What I'm saying is I think everyone should put themselves in a position where they have the option to not work if they don't want to. For example, COVID hit Omaha and everything closed. My family decided to go to Kauai, Hawaii, and we stayed there for 6 weeks. We bought one-way tickets, and I told my wife, we're going to stay there until Omaha opens back up. So Omaha announced they were opening up 2 weeks ago, and we flew home. So to be able to be in a position where I can leave and not virtually be here and do more deals, we broke records in the last 6 weeks amidst COVID. Real estate here still stayed super hot, and luckily we're still in an essential category. But to be able to put yourself in a position in your business where you could go take that 3-week trip to Europe, or you could choose to take a month off to help your son move into their new house, or whatever the case might be, that to me is living the dream, to have the option of not having to work and not have to service deals. So for everyone listening, and this is the provocative comment, you have your broker on the phone right now, or sorry, on the webinar, and you have leadership within your organization on the webinar. I would tell everyone your goal today moving forward should be to stop selling real estate. And here we all are at a real estate company. But I don't say get out of real estate. I say create leverage within your real estate business, help other people around you become more like you, and be able to help grow the organization together. And that's what a true leader does. So when it comes to broker leads, here's a quick share. This is January 1 through January 31, 2020. The top left quadrant is a showcase of our Boomtown dashboard or traffic dashboard. We generate 2,000 leads a month off of Boomtown. We generate over 20,000 visits to the site via pay-per-click ads. And so how that breaks down, if you look at that percentage, and I can't see the numbers from here, but I know it's around 10%. It costs me $1 a click to go have someone come to my website, and it takes 10 visits on the website to generate a lead. So I pay $10 to get a lead, and we convert those leads on average over the last 9 years at 2%. So I need to generate 50 leads to close one sale. So it costs me $500 to close one sale. Who here on the call would pay $500 to close one deal? Everyone. So why aren't you? Why aren't we? I don't think we are, because sometimes we worry that that money is going to be wasted and that we're not going to be able to close the deal. And I think the reason that that happens is because people aren't willing to work the leads, and they don't understand the average incubation period of a lead. And so I'll give you guys a rhetorical question, then I'll answer it. How long over the last 9 years would you guess our average lead stayed in incubation in our CRM from the day it registered to the day it went under contract? We've done over 2,500 internet sales. So I have the number. Day it registers to the day it goes under contract. The number is 6 months. And the agent doesn't get paid out until month 7.5. So the reason people think internet leads don't work is because they don't work the leads long enough. They make the first call, send the first text, leave the first voicemail, set them up on a drip email, and think technology is going to replace them. People don't know, like, and trust technology. You can create value through it, but it's not the end all be all. You have to continue to engage. And so we've created a sequence of expectations in terms of calls, texts, voicemails, et cetera, to help our agents build rapport and create value with the consumer. We also track all of this in Sisu, sisu.co. Sisu helps us with analytics for each individual agent, team, and brokerage that we coach with. It also helps with creating all of the volume so agents can know exactly what their income level is going to be. I think Command might do some of this. I haven't had a chance yet to run with Command, and we do plan to run Command parallel to everything we're doing until we can ultimately transition over 100%. But for example, this is our brokerage board. So as of the end of January 31st, we are at 13 million in volume pending. You can read all the stats on there. And then the last slide, this particular slide is the one I wanted to show based on gamification. So this slide is a monthly accrual of all the different KPIs. It'll track call attempts, contacts, appointments, contracts written, contracts that bomb, and we track it for each agent and celebrate the agents that are at the top by creating the leaderboard and gamification. So in our organization, one of the big things is we want to celebrate failure, not just success. Commission checks celebrate success, but who out there is celebrating failure? So what failure I mean is it takes 150 calls to have one sale. Who's celebrating the fact that the agent had 149 people saying I'm not interested? That's a huge win if an agent can make 149 calls of people that said I'm not interested to get the one sale. So we give agents credit, and that credit then can be used to buy swag like a flat bill hat. We even have a 3-year lease on a Range Rover at the highest level. It's like the video game arcade that has the PlayStation that you never can earn enough tickets to win. So we essentially wanted to give an agent something back for all of the time and energy they're putting into things that aren't getting them an immediate result. And so the last piece that I want to talk about, and I know I'm a couple minutes over, and then we'll jump into some Q&A, is technology. This couldn't come at a better time. GetVerly.com is a company I own that does drone flyover. We do fly-throughs, we do photos, and we essentially create a Matterport 3D tour that we make available on every brokerage listing. It's required at our office that every listing offers a Matterport solution. When I come out of the screen share here, I'll actually put a link in the chat to show you an example of the tech we're running. And I will talk offline with some of your leadership, but we actually are partnering with market centers all over the country to help them build this tech solution for you guys internally and not share it with your competition, just share it with your agents at your brokerage. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We also use digital business cards. I actually have one on the back of my pop socket. So when I tapped my pop socket, it has a little NFC chip sticker that I put here, and it's my business card. So the same contact you'd share with someone off of your contact card in your phone, I just tap somebody's phone, it reads my NFC chip, and they can automatically add my contact information. And then the third thing, I showed you my virtual reality goggles. We create at GetVerly, we create 3D renders of homes and condos that have never been built before. So the consumer can tour those homes in 3 degrees of freedom, meaning it's the same experience you'd have if you went into a virtual tour on Matterport, where you can tour the home by looking up, down, left, right, and you can go, navigate inside and outside of a digital space that has never been built out. So I'll kind of cruise through this pretty quick, but this is kind of all of the different businesses that we're using to help make the transaction as simple as possible. We're using CRM Boomtown. Of course, we'll start using Command once we have access to it. We've been using lead conversion strategies like Rockerbox. And so Rockerbox, essentially what they do is they have a call center in College Station that helps with lead scrubbing. So if your agents aren't wanting to make the calls and you want to scrub the leads for them, a company like Rockerbox does a really good job with that. Sisu, like I'd mentioned, gamification, leaderboards, analytics. They also can track any special interests, like if you want to track how often you're doing your workouts or meditating or taking your dog on a walk. You can literally create any category and create gamification around that. Dot Loop for transaction management, which is what I think a majority of the KW agents are using. Trello for management as well, for like, did we put a sign in the yard? Did we take the lockbox down, et cetera? That has worked really well. And then we're using companies like TPMCO for all of our print marketing with just listed, just sold, and leave behind flyers, and then long-term client engagement. We also use HomeBot to send out a monthly custom CMA to every person that ever buys or sells with us. And then this is my last slide. So a few other strategies that helped our team grow so fast is I never spent money on admin, and I never spent money on marketing. People are always like, how did you not spend money on that? Well, with MSAs, I created strategic partnerships with lenders and vendors, the best ones being mortgage, title, insurance, home inspection, and home warranty. And I was able to help partner with them to build our Boomtown profile and get everyone had access to the same CMA. Everyone was on the same contract. And then they would pay to put all the leads into the contract with the agreement that our agents would help them scrub the leads. Our agents obviously got the real estate side of the transaction. And then the hope was that we could refer them over to the ancillary business that helped pay to generate that lead. Today, I get about $12,000 a month that goes to my MSA partnerships, and it all goes to Boomtown for paid ads. We also have done something similar with vendor lists. So smaller vendors that can't bring as much money because they don't make as much money, like a roofing company or a siding company or landscaping business, those vendors have to pay to be on our vendor list. If you're not paying, you're not playing. But of course, with that payment, their name gets to go on our website. They get to come talk to our team. They go to different events so that they can build that rapport with our agents. And then the last one's broker fees. Inside of our brokerage, we've always charged around $600 on every buy side as a broker fee to the buyer and $1,000 on the sell side as a broker fee to the seller. And we haven't ever taken that as a profit center. We've taken 100% of that revenue and put it towards admin. And so on my P&L, I adhere to the 70-10-20 rule, where 70% of GCI goes to agent commissions, 10% goes to overhead, and 20% is net profit. And I've been doing that consistently since launching the team in 2011. So we rolled through that pretty quick. That's actually a 1 hour keynote. I think I got through it in about half hour. One-stop shop solution, training, accountability, lead gen and lead conversion, tech, and strategies. So I invite anyone and everyone to come up with any questions that you guys might have. I appreciate your patience to get to this point. I know some of that probably didn't apply to everyone, but I think that there should be at least 1 or 2 takeaways for you guys. So the floor is now yours to ask anything you'd like to ask.
All right, Jeff, I got some questions for you. That was great, man. So first question, what was your rough time frame for a new agent moving from part-time to full-time? So, and then second part of that,
I can answer that aggressively. I'm a 99D99I.
Yep.
If you want to go full-time, go full-time. Done. Time frame is 1 day. You just make the decision. Most agents that succeed make the decision to be full-time out of the gate. It's really hard to do both, as anyone that's part-time has probably experienced. But I would say strategically, it's hard to go full-time because you're worried, is the money going to be there? If you can show your significant other, if you can show yourself that you have enough pendings that's going to double the income you were making at your part-time job, then that would be the time to jump. So let's say you've got 3 pendings that's going to net you $10,000 in a 30-day period, and your monthly part-time job's making $5,000 a month. That would probably be the time where you could say, okay, I think I've proven to myself it's time to jump ship. But I would love to challenge everyone to say, right now is the time, go full time. We tell everyone that's like one of our big celebrations, and what's on a lot of our agents' vision boards is to go full time and quit the part-time job that they have, or sell off the part-time business that they're trying to run, because really to be successful in anything, you need to put all your energy towards it.
Yep, all in. All right, next one. Any specific advice for a new agent how to structure your day during COVID-19?
So what's going on in your area? Are you guys essential? Can you work? Can you call people? Can you go on appointments?
We're the only state in the United States it's not essential. You can lead gen. You can't be doing so.
So first off, yep. This is the time to be completely educating yourself, attending events like these, picking up all the books you said you were going to read. You act like you read, but you never really did. Traction, the 5 dysfunctions of a team, the 5 love languages, the top 5 regrets of the dying, 7 levels of communication, shift, flip, hold. You've probably heard of some of these books before. If you haven't read all these, read them. It changes the person you are with every book that you read or listen to. So I'd recommend now more than ever to do that. Number 2 would be lining up the dominoes. The One Thing talks about that. All of these people that can't go look at houses want to buy something. You know how sick people are of their condo or the house or the place they're renting? Everybody's sick and tired of it. They all want to move. And they did all these renovations and realized the renovations didn't change anything. So we're going to see a huge influx in sales. I promise you that. When Q3 starts, it's going to act like Q2. And when Q4 starts, it's going to act like Q3. So whenever everything comes back online, I would say, and I'm predicting in most places, the market's going to come back on. So the people that win when the market comes back on are the people that are losing the most today. And when I say losing the most, it's the people that aren't closing deals because you really can't right now. It's the people that are lining up the dominoes and getting all those hot leads in their hot lead category with the expectation that when things come online, they've got a handful of people that they're going to be able to bring their homes on the market and or help them buy something. So that's what I'd say you should be doing.
And right now you got the opportunity. We always say we don't have enough time. Right now we got the time. So it's a beautiful thing.
Well, and everyone always has enough time. They just don't respect their time blocking, or they don't time block at all. The One Thing speaks to that. Anything you ever want to accomplish, you just put it on your calendar and you respect your time block. You can do anything. The problem is people spend too much time doing things they shouldn't be doing. So if you're dotting I's and crossing T's, you can hire that done for $15 an hour. If you're spending all your time outbound prospecting, you can hire that done in the Philippines for $1,000 a month. There's a lot of functions that we think we have to do it all because we're the best. Well, if you can find someone 1/3 as good as you and hire 3 of them, they're equal to you. What if you hire 60 of them? What if you hire 100 of them? That's leverage. So no one has to be as good as you. No one ever will be as good as you. And that's okay. You just have to find people that are close to as good as you and willing to learn and grow.
Jeff, we use a line, letting other people's priorities be your priority, right? And many times we allow that to happen and then we don't accomplish it. We don't have the time that we think we do. So you mentioned a book, man. It's one of my favorite books of all time, Operations, Traction, right? Do you follow in traction models? You mentioned that,
So that is a book, and I'll be completely authentic. I have not personally read Traction. I've probably heard people talk about it over 100 hours, and I've been told that I'm running Traction without ever reading the book. So I know about the rocks. I know about a lot of the different aspects of it, but I know it's a great book for anyone wanting to scale a business.
Gino Wickman wrote it, guys. If you guys haven't read that book and you're one operations side, it's a great book. How about Facebook ads? The next question they had for you, Jeff. What are you doing Facebook ad wise? What would you be doing?
So I'm spending $2,000 a month on Facebook. I've been doing that consistently for about 3 years. What I found is the Facebook ads don't convert as well. And the reason they don't convert as well is because the person on Facebook didn't do a Google search that said buy house Omaha or buy house Philly or sell house Philly or home valuation Philly. They were just sitting in their board and they're scrolling through and they see a neat little picture of a house and they click on it. So what we've done is instead of doing it the old fashioned way, what we've done is started to pixel anyone that comes in onto our website through a Google search, which is about 20,000 people a month. We just pixel all their IP addresses. And that's where you essentially can capture that exact computer that did the search on Google and landed on your site. And then you can run targeted Facebook ads to them. And so we're running ads on Facebook now to just the people that had done a Google search and come into our site from Google. And then they see us on Facebook a second time. And we're doing a lot of different retargeting ads like that, not only to generate leads, but to bring old leads back. Leads used to be the problem. For anyone that's worked in leads isn't the problem. Converting leads is the hard thing. We have over 400,000 leads in our CRM that we've created since 2011 when we launched our website. So now all we need to do is buckle down and convert the leads. We still are generating new leads and everyone wants new leads, but all they really need to do is just work the old leads that are already in there.
Next question. All the systems you're using, Boomtown, Rockerbox, are these integrated under one platform or do your agents have to go in each individually to use them?
Yeah, we've integrated everything like Command. We've used Boomtown the same way. So Boomtown has an API. Essentially, they built a bridge with all these other businesses. So you can use Mojo Dialer from Boomtown, right? You can use Dotloop from Boomtown. You can use Trello from Boomtown. And so everything that we're doing, as many places as where we can connect Sisu with Boomtown, we do.
So next question.
Jeremy, let me say one more thing on that because I think it's pertinent. We also give a seat in Boomtown to all of our ancillary businesses, even the ones that aren't paying for leads. So our home inspection company, our home warranty company, our title company, our mortgage company, our insurance company, and everyone and anyone else in our vendor list has access to our CRM. And why is that? Well, there's that lifeline of that transaction. I don't know when that person's going to first touch a mortgage lender or an insurance agent. I don't know who they're going to reach out to. And we want to create a process where if Jane Doe calls, Joshua Brandt directly, then of course Josh is going to go in there and he's going to register it. But what happens when they call Josh's insurance agent? Is the insurance agent go, yo, Josh, I just got this guy who's in your CRM. They're not going to do that. Who are they going to give the lead to? They're going to give it to the agent that is giving them the most business right now. And so we wanted to make sure we captured all of our leads. And so what we have required of all of our ancillaries is that if any lead reaches out to them, they have to go to the CRM to see if that lead was already registered under KW Elite. And if it was, they have to go in and figure out which agent it was registered under, make a note of the conversation, and then ping or notify the agent that lead was registered to. So how crazy is that? So now every time they reach out to home inspection, home warranty, title, landscaping company, they're logging in to ping the agent and everybody else for that matter. Hey, this person just reached out about X, Y, or Z. And now you have a log of every text, every email communication, every email they've ever opened, every listing update email that goes out that they've opened, every buyer lead that goes out that they open, every new house that goes to the market, everything about that lead. And it helps with lead conversion. And of course, it helps with creating value. I think this got talked about a lot at Family Reunion, but imagine a world where we know what our buyer's interest rate is. And so when interest rates fall 0.5 point or a full point, we, the agent, the expert, the professional, or the brokerage sends out an email saying, hey, I don't know if you knew, so-and-so James Williams, but your interest rate just went down interest rates just went down at 0.5 point from the rate you locked in on 4 years ago. This would be a great time to refinance. Who here got that email from their lender that owns a property? I didn't. My lender didn't reach out to me when rates had that crazy, famous, infamous day a couple months ago. No one reached out to me personally, which is a huge fail because there's money to be made, obviously, from the mortgage company to refi that loan and get that closing. And establishing ourselves as the expert is key. And that's where Command is going to help us with artificial intelligence and predictable analytics.
I have a couple questions on this one. I'm just going to combine them. We're large on appreciation events. A lot of the agents in the Philadelphia market that we've coached and trained to build through their business appreciation events. We don't call them client appreciation events because we believe everybody should come. It should not just be your clients to get a bigger influence there. The question they had was, in our brokerage, we do a ton of events and train. We look at the same thing. Can you take us through your pre-marketing, your event, and post? What are you doing? Take us through those three processes. I've had 3 questions on this.
Cool. You know, it's funny. Someone told me 10 years ago, I was getting ready to do radio ads, and I tried to work with, I don't remember the organization, but it's the one by Matt Wagner. And it's hard to get it. You have to have exclusive rights into that group. So I started using a third party to run my ads for me. And they said that in a radio ad, you always want, in the ad, the actual audio that people listen to, it needs to say what you're going to say it, and then say what you said. And it's the exact same thing with social media engagement. If you go to my podcast, I just interviewed Facebook like 2 weeks ago. I think that episode just released last week. If you go to eliterealestatesystems.com, go look up the episode with Scott Shapiro and Mustafa, where we talk all about Facebook marketing for live open houses. And in that particular episode, we talked about how before you do a live open, and this applies to any marketing you do, you need to say what your event's going to be. Then during the event, you need to record the event and say, hey, here's the event, we're doing it. And then after the event, you've now recorded content from the live event. You need to say, hey, look at this cool event we just did. And I think the greatest value is afterwards. So just take this as an example. I think I've been watching participants, and we've averaged about 65 to 70 on Zoom. I know there's people watching live on social as well. But the value of a recording like this isn't the live. The value to you is live because you get to engage and ask questions. But the real value is the post audience. There's going to be way more people that are going to consume your content after the fact over the course of weeks and months that are going to want to learn more about you. You know, you're reaching out to Janet Ames is sending people this content via text, email, call, whatever, and they want to learn more about Janet. They're going to pull up her Facebook page and her Instagram page and her Twitter page and her LinkedIn page and her YouTube channel and the website and anywhere there else there's testimonials, Zillow, Yelp, etc. And they're going to do some investigating. People are savvy, right? They're going to go everywhere to learn as much as they can. And so it's important that we have the right strategy around preparing for an event, the event, and after the event. So we use a lot of Facebook events. We do a lot of charity events every quarter. When people come to me and ask for money to donate towards their charity, I say, I'm not going to donate money to the charity. What I'll do is one better. I have 400,000 people in a database. I'll spend $1,000 in targeted pixeled ads to everyone in our database on Facebook, and we'll send an email and we'll market it on all of the different marketing channels that we have, inviting people to support the charity. So instead of giving money to a charity, I invite 400,000 people to give money to a charity, which allows me to use my influence to better impact that particular event. We've done everything under the sun. So Walk for Cancer, back to school supply event for the Humane Society to bring, get dog food and dog products. They're always at different locations. We have lender vendors help pay for those. Michael Mayer actually has a conference he hosts when it's not pandemic time, all about how to run events and engage with people. He said one of his regrets, I had him on my podcast a couple months ago, and he does talk about events. So go find that episode with Michael Mayer if you'd like. He's the one that wrote the book 7 Levels of Communication and talks about engaging with your SOI. One of the best ways to engage is through events, both webinars like this one and or in-person live events. And he said he wished he had written more about that in his book 7 Levels, and now he's doing a lot of conferences about it. So great question. It sounds like a couple people were interested in that. I don't know if I dodged that at all, or if you guys want me to go any further.
Do you have a roadmap? Like do you have a map that they can find on one of your sites that would show them, like, here's my pre-marketing list, here's my event marketing, and here's my post?
If they go, so all of you, if you'd like, you can go to, it was Omaha's Elite Real Estate Mastermind. I think now it's just Omaha's Real Estate Mastermind on Facebook. And you'd be able to see, that's essentially our recruiting page. We call it a mastermind page and never use the word recruiting, but it's every agent in my market has joined it. We have over like 1,000 people that follow that page. So every time we host an event, and this is something else that needs to be said. So yes, Jeremy, go to that page and you'll see pre-marketing, current marketing, and post-marketing. But one of our strategies as well is everyone gets invited to one of our events. It's not specific to just one group. It's all of our past clients, all of our current clients, all of our future clients, all of our recruits, all of our agents at our brokerage, all of the agents at other brokerages, and all of the family members associated with any of those people. And so a lot of times people think it needs to just be recruiting or just be past clients or just be future clients or just be agents. And what we found is you get a much better following and you get a lot more people together if you just open it up to everyone. Of course, there's some times where it's going to be specific to one individual group, but we usually try to open them up, especially if it's a charity event.
Same thing with their agent, with their clients. Instead of calling it a client appreciation party, we've changed it. We call it appreciation events. We get a lot more people for their people to come. Because this question came in twice on staff, different versions. Best way to keep your ops admin accountable, sticking to time blocking schedules.
How to keep your operation, or any admin person. So what I call these alignment meetings. In all of the businesses I own, a lot of people are like, I don't know how you do so much. Well, I don't do anything. The only thing I do is I have a weekly meeting with every person that runs every business for 1 hour. Every month we pull out a P&L. We do a quarterly P&L review as well. And then I'm available on call for emergencies, but typically I have an hour. So Jeremy, if you and I were in each other's worlds and you were running one of my offices, I'd say, all right, Jeremy and I are going to have a jam session Fridays at 3 p.m. And Jeremy knows throughout the week when he has all these annoying questions he wants to bother me with, he's going to hold off until Friday because I'm going to be annoyed if he bothers me during the week. That's how I handle the CEOs. Of course, if you're the CEO and you have direct reports that need to report to you daily, you'd have to manage that differently. But there needs to be a time where you align and make sure that you're holding them accountable to all of their tasks. And you need to have a process, either have them send you a beginning of day report, which is what I do with my virtual callers, and an end of day report, a BOD and an EOD. For whatever their tasks are. That's a pretty simple way. There's lots of apps out there that will help track, people's key performance indicators, what you want to keep people busy doing. But I know right now more than ever, people are worried about it because everyone's at home. So you're sitting there going, man, I'm paying this person $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. Are they actually doing anything? Or are they just spending an hour a day and then doing something else? Funny story. I'll take you down a rabbit hole for a second. One of my first virtual callers I hired through my Outdesk, and they're a great company. I'm good friends with the owner. I had a requirement that they had to always have their screen share up. So they'd log into TeamViewer and I could see whatever they were doing. And one day randomly, I'm like, I'm going to jump in and see what they're doing just for fun. And the entire time I watched, it was probably about 45 minutes, they were on Facebook. And so I thought that was so funny. I called them right away. I said, hey, what are you doing? They're like, I'm making calls for you, boss. I'm like, well, it looks to me like you're on Facebook. You're navigating your Facebook page for the last 45 minutes. And I let this person go. And I think that's a little aggressive. If you know the business, here's the thing is, as a leader, if you've done it all, you used to deliver signs, you did the marketing, you posted new houses on the MLS, you prepared, a cost sheet. If you've done every function, you know how long it should take. And so when you hire someone, it's my recommendation, you should plan on about them working a 40-hour work week. And I'm a big fan of 15 to 25 days off, depending on how long they've been inside your organization. I want everybody to have 30 days off, essentially, a year. And work 40-hour work weeks. So if we have admin that are getting into a 50 or 60-hour work week, it's a dysfunction. Of course, there's certain weeks that it may be just our funky town. But for average time over, of course, a long period of time, to live and lead the life of your dreams, you're not working 70 hours a week. So we actually will require them to keep their hours. And if they're getting over hours, we'll say, hey, there's a problem here. We either need to help you be more efficient and or hire a part-time person. And then that part-time person turns into a full-time person. So first and foremost, know the business. Make sure there's clear expectations of what they need to be doing, train them to be the best version of themselves, to be able to be the most efficient, and then hold them accountable to those key performance indicators.
I love it. And the person that asked it, just recap is we recommend morning huddle or a lunch huddle, whichever one you decide. But in the recaps, if you notice what Jeff just said, he's recapping that. You're just doing a weekly meeting with them. Some of these guys are just starting off on call it a $10 million producer. Correct me if I'm wrong. What I've coached guys in the years, what I've done is a daily huddle with the person. 7 minutes is all they get, and they recap it. In your case, you're saying a weekly. Either way, who's right, who's wrong? The key I find most times, Jeff, is the agent's the issue most of the time. The person interrupting them and asking them to do 14 different things in a day, and they actually don't stick to the schedule. Alyssa's on this call right now. I sometimes do that, and she calls me out on it. What did you do to train yourself to make sure you stick that schedule, or that's just that high D, high I? That's just
I
my
love it. So number one thing, and this is still a challenge today because it's a continual training, is there has to be a hierarchy. And so a brand new agent in the organization isn't allowed to call Jeff Cohn. And I don't mean that like I'm too good for them. I'd take those calls all day long. I'm a 99I. But if I see that someone's reaching out to me, I'll say, hey, you really shouldn't be reaching out to me. You need to reach out to so-and-so. So there's always going to be this hierarchy or chain of command. And taking it a step further, and I don't know that most of you will have heard of this strategy, but it's been a miracle worker for us. If someone goes to you, Jeremy, as an example, and asks you a question, they have to come with 3 answers to their question. So they'll have a problem, they'll have solved it, they'll have 3 solutions as to how to solve it, and they'll tell you which solution they think is the best. So they don't get to just come to you or anyone else within the organization and ask questions as if you're Google or Siri. They need to come to you, have solved the problem themselves, and then that gives you an opportunity to say, I think you're right. I think option A is the best. And that was the conversation. It took 5 seconds. But don't think that you can go to your leader and say, ask a question and then just wait for them to solve all of your problems. Go learn how to solve your own. I had an example on my team. Someone that recently joined texted me asking for my father's cell phone number. And I was like, really? I am Google helping you find my dad's cell phone number. Google Mark Cohn, Omaha, and there's like 1,000 websites that will populate with his cell phone number. He's a real estate agent. So I was actually offended, and then she was offended that I was offended, and I gave her a hard time, and I don't care because it was a dysfunction. So the important factor here as a leader is to teach people who to reach out to, how to reach out to them, so that you give the people in the organization the opportunity to help teach, coach, and then ultimately retain those individuals.
Yep, and also help them think and be a leader for them to resolve it. One of the famous questions I ask is, what do you think? And most of the time, like you said, Jeff, they know the answer. I just got taught that from another company before. And if I feed them all the information, it just pumps yours and my ego, which is not the answer, to have them rely on us. And I call it a dictatorship. And I believe there's many leaders out there that believe that. When we actually empower them to think, they can grow as a person and they can build businesses. And it comes off sometimes the wrong way, like you said, but the impact that you've done it that way to create leaders is priceless.
Yep. And, Gary even talks about this as far as infrastructure. I think he says you want 5 people. Any more than 5, you're not going to do a very good job leading those people. So depending on how big your organization gets, you have your 5 key people, and then they have their 5 key, and then they have their 5 key, and then they have their 5 key. And that's one of the reasons when I talked about my training organization, we have 4 groups. And in each of those groups, we want there to be about 15 or 20. And every time it gets more than about 15 or 20, we're going to double the group. We're going to split the group in half. So there's going to be small pods of individuals that are attending trainings together, being held accountable together, going to masterminds together. And we believe that people will be the most efficient working that way. Probably time for one more question. If anybody has a really good
Jeff,
one they want to end us on.
I just got 5 text messages on your tip, literally on my phone from that tip that you gave. So that was the most powerful one so far in responses is on communication.
Cool.
With you. It was pretty interesting. I got a whole bunch less. I'll give you one final one to stay on this. Give your best version of your morning that you would recommend to people right now to stay on track.
Miracle morning.
Love it.
Go pick up Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning for Agents. I don't do every one of those, but Hal Elrod will talk about the savers. He kind of interviewed the top, 1,000 billionaires and started to see that there's trends amongst successful people, but not all those successful people did all of the things that was a trend. People would work out every day. They'd journal every day. They'd meditate. They'd read. They'd do affirmations. And so for me personally, I get up every day and I work out. I spend about an hour lifting, and then I spend about 15 to 20 minutes either in my steam shower or my hot tub meditating. And that's how I get my mindset around the day. So like even for this call, I wasn't thinking about the call that's today until yesterday. I look at my calendar in the evening every day to see what I have coming up. And then I start putting a lot of energy in my mind towards the specific group that I'm going to be in front of or the specific tasks that I'm going to be tackling. And of course, if it needs more prep, then I'll prep. But I do create a space in my mind for it. I prepare even with the foods I eat. I'm drinking a Bang right now, which some people probably don't think is the best. I drink a Bang every day. I don't drink coffee, so that kind of replaces my coffee. I make sure I get my water in. As far as a routine, I drink about 150 ounces of water a day, which is about half my weight. And that shares my weight with you in ounces of water per day. And then I time block like a madman. If I showed you my calendar, which I could, let me see if it's up right now. Oh, it's not up right now.
And I assume
I
you're
won't take the
setting
time to.
expectations up front in your time management. When you have a meeting with someone, you tell them up front, do you set the expectation we have 30 minutes or we have 20
Oh,
minutes?
absolutely. Yeah. I do 15 minutes is the most you ever need for a meeting. So 15-minute meetings is typically one of my strategies with a 5-minute break in between. So I have days dedicated to different things. Like Monday is my real estate company. Tuesday is my investment company. Wednesday is my coaching company, which includes podcasts. Thursday is an open schedule for calls. Every person that ever reaches out to me that says, hey, I really want to have a call with you, I give them my private link and they can have a call with me. I create 4 hours in my world every week for those types of calls. And then Fridays is an optional day for work that I get to choose whatever I want to do. And then I usually don't work weekends. And when I say don't work, we're defined by the way we spend our time in our minds. What do you do when you're waiting in a line? What do you do when you're driving your car? I'm always working. But work comes in very many, a lot of different ways. It's just to me, work is processing information. So it's what are we processing? Are we processing the crappy relationship we have with our significant other? Are we processing, feeling guilty, not showing up for our kids, or feeling like we need to start working out or stop smoking or whatever it is? The way you spend the time in your mind is what's going to define your life. So choose how you want to spend your time in your mind. There's a book called As a Man Thinketh that kind of speaks to this. You will become, you've probably heard like your net worth will be the 5 average net worths of the people that are closest to you will be your net worth. I like to say, essentially, you'll become whatever you think. So you will literally do what you think. You have to do small and simple things over long periods of time to lead up to that thing you're thinking you want to become. So you can't just think, I'm going to have a six pack and the six pack appears. But if you think every day, I really want to get in better shape, and you start working on small, simple things consistently over long periods of time, you will naturally get in shape. Most people don't succeed at a high level because they're not willing to do the small, simple thing for a long period of time. And how long is long? 10 years is a minimum when I say the word long. That's where the term tenure came from. When someone has tenure, that's 10 years. And typically they've figured out that a professional is someone that's had 10 years doing something full time. So 10 years of working your abs, 10 years, of meditation, 10 years of prospecting or overcoming objections. And I've been in real estate 13 years. So I'd say now I'm an expert, I'm a professional. A lot of you with us today probably are in the same ballpark. And it feels good once you get to that level where you're like, wow, I've done this a really long time. I'm super confident with every person I talk to. Getting in front of big groups is easy because you get to this point where that I'm not getting in front of a big group to show off. I'm getting in front of a big group to bring value. Yep. And like I said in the beginning, my goal today for you guys, and I'll close on this, was that you could take one thing away and implement it over a small, simple thing that I talked about that you can implement over a long period of time. And the best way for you to thank me for the time I took today would be to actually change something in your life. And if all of us are working on these small, simple things every single day consistently, our lives will change and we'll be the happiest we've ever been. And that's what I want for all of you and all the people that are in my organizations.
I appreciate it. I'm going to give you guys a top 10 list. I know Jeff's got to run. I appreciate you for your time today, man. I've organized a top 10 list. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Later, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys. Real quick.
My man, thanks a lot, Jeff.
I'm going to give – there's Mike. Mike just gave you a shout-out, Jeff. All right, he rolled. All right, so here you guys go. What you guys think? Give me a thumbs up if you like today. All right, that was good stuff. All right, I'm going to give you a top 10 list. You guys ready? I'm going to relate a guy who does a boatload of business to anybody in this call. It's a new agent to do a boatload. I'm going to relate. He talked about big high-level stuff. I'm going to relate it to you, right? Number one, respect your schedule. Do not let other people's priorities be your priorities. Number one, respect your schedule. Do not let other people's priorities be your priority. That could be your mother making a phone call to you. That could be your client calling you to off hour. As soon as you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. That is the second tip I'm going to give you today. As soon as you say yes to something, you're going to say no to something else. If Bob Cervone says yes to someone, he's saying no to someone else. Third, if you notice with him, he's very heavy on lead gen. He's all about leverage. He's all about lead gen. Everything he talked about on lead gen was it had a purpose. He always knew his numbers. If you're a new agent or an experienced agent, you should know how many phone calls it takes you to get an appointment. Here's your key metrics that you guys should be understanding on a daily basis if you're experienced or new. How many phone calls do I make? How many people did I talk to? And how many appointments did I set? Let me repeat that again. How many phone calls did I make? How many appointments how many contacts I talked to? How many people? How many did I set? Once you get those three things down, then you need to understand how many appointments did I go on to actually get a deal. Okay? Those are your 5 key metrics you need to know. When you build a company that's multi-millions of dollars, that guy, you can ask him, he probably has like 10 to 20 different key metrics. And each company, Josh, watch this, every company he's running, he has a key metric, right? You and I talking, I'm only going to ask you 3 to 5 things. If you're not hitting those numbers, what are we doing differently? If you're hitting those numbers, I know you're doing the right thing. And Josh knows this because Josh is working with you guys on the productivity coaching. He's going to do the same thing with you guys when he's coaching with your businesses to make sure you know your numbers. All right. Next, 4th tip. I think I'm on number 4 on it that I wrote down in the list. Number 4. Number 4 is he actually thinks before he acts. Remember this. He actually thinks before he acts. So he's purposeful on a business perspective and a personal perspective. He thinks before he acts. So when you guys are during your day, you got to be able to time block your day so you're 100% focused. If you go see a surgeon, they don't do doctor's appointments during surgery time. They only do surgery time, right? There's a reason why they do that, okay? What tip are we on now? 5, right? 5, shake. I'm seeing everybody's paying attention. Good, all right. 5. When you listen to a person speak, don't ever focus on their business. Focus on what they're doing and relate it to you. I'll say it again. I brought on some huge hitters the last 2 weeks. If you're a huge hitter, great. If you're not new, you got to just relate to you. You have to understand when a human being speaks, how to relate it back to you. And here's what he told us today. You need to be on the phones 3 hours a day, lead generation, some type, whatever lead gen you do. If you do that for 15 hours a week, you'll be successful. If you work out 15 hours a week, you'll be successful. If you pay attention, whatever you do, you want to pay attention to at least 15 hours a week will be successful, okay? That's what he said tonight. Staff, if you have staff, number 6, you have to respect their time. Just because you're your staff, don't throw things off your brain. If you're married and on this call and you want a good relationship, your wife and husband is not a dartboard. Do not throw darts at them when you get an idea. Write it down. Write it down. Digest it. I have it on my computer. I have a notepad on my computer, notes. And I want to throw a whole bunch of crazy ideas out at the team. I have to digest it. I shot 1 message to Josh. I shot 1 message to Alyssa. And the rest I'm going to digest to my Monday meeting to talk to them. I'm not going to just shoot a whole bunch of information how I'm going to change as a person. Does that make sense? Okay. Next, marketing. Number 7, marketing. Stay simple on marketing, but know your numbers. If you notice what he talked about today is he always knows his number. Facebook ad does this does that. If you want something very basic in this call today to help yourself with lead gen, Mojo Dialer is the easiest thing to use, and you don't even need to use the dialer feature. It's a very easy system to put your leads into. Command could be another source for you to put your leads into, the Keller Williams system. If you want to physically hit the button and make the phone call, Mojo's the best, okay? He mentioned Boomtown. If you guys don't know what Boomtown is, there's a whole bunch of companies out there that create internet leads. What I found is most human beings don't get enough business from their people they know. Once you go internet, make sure you've exhausted your appreciation parties and your center of influence. So if you're not touching your clients 33 times a year, please don't have more people in your party. Bob Cervone, we used to sell telecommunications together. If you can't understand what the one company is, don't go get 5 quotes. You got to understand what you have first. And we would go into companies and we would give quotes and we'd try to get their telecom. The person who we were talking to didn't even understand what they had. You as a group, us as lead generators, we have to understand that we have to talk to our people 33 times a year, okay? What are those? You guys ready? This is what he said basically in a nutshell of what he does from a lead gen. You need to send 2 emails a month, okay? 2 emails a month. That'd be 24 touches. You need to call your center of influence, people that you know, once a quarter. They don't have to call you. We are all a dime a dozen on this phone call, okay? There's plenty of realtors. We all have friends that have multiple realtors as friends. I used to get pissed when people wouldn't call me. I know there's a million companies to work for. I know there's a million realtors. You have to stay in front of them. 24 touches a year in emails, 4 phone calls, okay, is 28. Do 2 appreciation parties a year and 2 mailers or 3 mailers. That'll get you to around that 33. If you stay in front of your clients 33 times a year, that is proven from Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, How to Make $1 Million in Real Estate. I've created multiple companies. Every single company I did, it works. Just got to stay in front of them, okay? Last but not least, there's something can you explain number 5 again? I don't even know what number 5 was at this point. If you put in the chat line what number 5 is, I will tell you what it is. Last thing is this. This is the last one I have, I think. Am I on 9 or 10? Josh, what am I at? I'm at 9? All right, 9. All right, I'm gonna give you 2 more. Take time in your day to think. Watch this guy speak. He's a doer and a thinker. I'm gonna repeat this. Most of us want to do all day, but we don't take time to think. That's like jogging, but not knowing where you're going. We have good intentions, but are we jogging from here to the beach? Are we jogging from here to the lake? You have to understand where you're going. If you want a good roadmap to where you're going, number 10 is going to be my final tips for you of books. You guys ready? Number 1, Miracle Morning. He mentioned that. My wife quit her job on that. I've coached more people, produced $3 billion in business. And the number 1 book I can tell you the 3,000 people I've impacted is they've read The Miracle Morning. If your morning's crappy, you're going to have a crappy day. Miracle Morning, this guy should have probably died about 7 times. I know how. He's had a crazy life. But he goes around, he coaches families and businesses on it. You got to get your personal life on it. Your business will come with it. If your personal life's a mess, your business will be a mess. Hal Elroy, Miracle Morning. You'll love it. Please send me a message. I'd love to see how it changes your life. I have an accountability group. Whatever company I work with, we hold people accountable if they want it. And some people want to be held accountable getting a good morning routine. Jeremy, I want to lose weight. Jeremy, I want to get up earlier. Jeremy, I want to lead gen. If you want that, message us. We'll help you with it. We'll get you in a group. Second is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. You need to read that 33 touches a year. Last, Compound Effect. Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. These are the top 3 books I've seen help impact people in their life. That book is all about actions and habits. A similar book to that is The One Thing, Gary Keller. And I'm going to leave you guys with a final note. If I asked you a question, right? Thanks, Min. You're unbelievable. By the way, if you don't know Min, thank you, man. You're an unbelievable person. He's always on point. He is an unbelievable realtor, unbelievable mentor. And he just shared on the chat line all the different tips that I had summarized for you. So what you need to understand is, man, what the heck was I just saying on my phone final tip? I just gave you a shout out because you got me so emotional.
Compound effect.
Yep, compound effect, Darren Hardy, One Thing. All right, thank you, brother. I'm going to leave you this final thought. If I told you today was your last day on earth, what would people say about your real estate business? If today was your last day on earth, what would people say about your real estate business? Why is that so impactful? You can put that in your personal life too. Don't try to be Jeff Cohn overnight. Maybe you want to be him, maybe you don't. Get really good at one thing. Become a really good lead generator. Become a really good listing presentation. Become a really good at buyers. Don't try to do everything at once. Guys and girls, you're going to set yourself up for failure. Mike McCann, who's on this call, I'm not sure if he still is, he's really good at one thing. Jim Anesti does $100 million of business a year. He's really good at one thing, new construction. Jeremy Bowers sold 175 houses a year. He was really good at listing presentations. He wasn't that good at buyers. Get really good at one thing. And what will happen is you'll be able to accomplish more things. If you go to the beach and you dig a hole, 5 spots, you'll never get to the hard sand down below. But if you dig a hole really deep, you can get the hard sand. I'm a hick from Western Pennsylvania. My family's made some money on natural gas, not a ton. But when they drill for natural gas, they drill deep and they don't drill multiple holes. And my one boy hit for $1 million a month. You know why? They drilled a hole really, really deep and everybody else stopped. $12 million a year, not bad living in a log cabin, right? Impactful today? We'll continue to do these. If you don't work at KW Philly, this is a normal day. If you guys are part of KW Main Line, this is what you're going to be getting once this is all done in June. And if you guys want more help on any of this stuff, just message us. My site's the $1 Billion Office, the $1 Billion Office. And I'm Jeremy Bowers. I'm the CEO of KW Philly, and I'll be taking over with the KW Main Line office. And if anybody knows me, Bob and other people on here, you know that I'll get back to you and I'll help you. And I want to see you guys all successful, like Jeff said today. So give me a thumbs up if you're glad you came today. All right. Have a great day. Thanks all.